Before it's too late, please welcome Peter Ferrara. There you go.
Thank you very much. I'm glad to see you all here. Each one of you needs to be your own political machine, and I'm going to talk about how you can do that at the end of my speech. But I want to talk first about this the great budget war going on in Washington, because between Barack Obama's dishonest speech this week and Paul Ryan's budget, the debate is framed perfectly over the central issue of our time, which is the size and scope of government. Let's review what Barack Obama has already done. The tax increases he's already enacted into current law between Obamacare and the other tax increases that he has scheduled to go into effect in 2013, which, if that is allowed, you will see another recession that will make the last one look like a picnic. Under his what he's already enacted into law, the top tax rate will go up 20% in 2013. The capital gains tax rate will go up nearly 60%. The tax on corporate dividends will triple. The Medicare payroll tax on the nation's job creators, small business, employers, and investors will go up 62%. But that's not enough for Barack Obama, because in his budget in February, he proposed another $350 billion in tax increases on top of that. In addition, American business already pays the highest business tax rate in the industrialized world. There's no relief in sight for that. In fact, in his budget, he proposed still more taxes on American business. So this week he gives a speech. He's going to reduce the deficit. And on top of all these tax increases, he proposes another $1 trillion tax increase. Now here's Paul Ryan's budget in a nutshell. What it does is it repeals the Obama administration. It takes America, it restores the level of taxes that had prevailed in the post-war era, going back over the last 60 years. If you study all the budget numbers and the budget documents like I do, you'll see, to my surprise, that in fact the total was stable over the last 60 years until 2008. Federal taxes as a percent of the economy relative to GDP had been stable. Paul Ryan's budget, for all the vilification you get from the left-wing extremist New York Times, all the vilification you get from the left-wing extremist evening news media, from all the vilification you get from the socialist bureaucrats in Washington, just restores America's taxes to the level that prevailed for 60 years after World War II. What everything Barack Obama proposes on top of that is the fundamental change he promised, which is to increase the tax burden of America, break out of the long-term trend in America to a new level of socialism in America, where taxes soar as relative to the economy. So the issue, that's the framework, that's the battle. Some people say it's a mark of how much trouble we're in that even after Paul Ryan's budget, that doesn't go far enough. But that is the first battle you have to win. Are you familiar with who Hugo Chavez is? The socialist president of Venezuela. Well, that's the best way to understand Barack Obama. He's the American Hugo Chavez. And we cannot afford to leave that man in power for another 4 years, or we will lose all our freedom. So where do we need to go from there? We need to have a new prosperity agenda, and that's what I talk about in my book, which will be available in June. How to restore the American dream, how to restore American prosperity. And you have some fundamental opportunities right here in New Jersey to win the essential battles at the grassroots on that. You have Senator Robert Menendez up for re-election next year. He's a socialist automaton who wants to take the money of everyone who works and produces for a living and use it to buy votes from the dependent with your money. And that is the scam that has to be stopped. What is the result of all these tax increases that Obama is promoting? the African American unemployment has been at 15% or above for 3 years now. Unemployment among Hispanics has been well into double digits for 3 years now. Unemployment among teenagers over 20% for 3 years now. Unemployment among black teenagers over 40% for 3 years now. These people are suffering a Great Depression under Barack Obama and his runaway socialist tax increases. That is why the Census Bureau reports that poverty is the highest level it's been in America since they began keeping poverty records over 50 years ago. That is the result of Barack Obama's socialism. Consider that. It is his own people who support him who are suffering the most. They are suffering a Great Depression under this economics. And the Census Bureau reports that poverty is at its highest level since they kept records. More Americans are in poverty today than in the over 50 years that they've been keeping records. That is the result. That is only the beginning. He wants to increase taxes even more. If he is not stopped and his tax rates go into effect in 2013, you will have another double-dip recession. The budget deficit is already $1.6 trillion. What happens to America and to our budget if we have another recession? Is the world really going to lend us $2.5 trillion, $3 trillion to finance our budget? We are going to be in exactly the place where Greece is. The European Union adopted $1 trillion bailout plan for Greece. Who's going to bail out America? Who even possibly could bail out America? Do you see how much trouble we're in? And the serious battle we face, and how priority number one has to be to make sure that the American Hugo Chavez does not get another 4 years to trash America. Now, each one of you can be your own political machine. Each one of you has either an old-fashioned Rolodex, or you have an email address, a contact address on your address list on your computer. That is the foundation of your personal political machine. Collect the contact information of all your relatives, of all your friends, of all your neighbors, of everybody you know who you think may be receptive. That is the first step to being your own political machine. Then communicate with these people. Send them good articles. Send them, I have an article every morning at spectator.org, for one thing. I have regular columns at Forbes.com. At both those places you can find lots of good articles. There's many other places. I regularly write for PajamasMedia.com. Send your list these articles. Then identify who among the fire department is fighting me this morning. They work directly for the administration here, and collect their contact information. Get them to come to meetings and rallies like this. Get them involved. Identify the local candidates. I suspect that that's deliberate. But identify the local candidates who you support, and then communicate with your political list, your own political machine. Communicate with your list as to who the good candidates are. Identify how they can help these good candidates. You don't need to support a particular party. You need to support the good candidates. And then identify your list, communicate with your list, and get them involved in the campaigns of those good candidates. Get them to contribute. Get them to volunteer. Then be your own voter outreach program on election day. Get your list out to vote for the candidates you've identified. Too many Americans are politically apathetic. Any person who operates his own political machine like that can be a political power. So that's step one for next year's elections, which may be the most critical elections in American history. So I thank you all for coming out here today. You can see the depth of the trouble that we're in, and you are the source of the victory. Just as this was the area that where George Washington repaired to take back America from the British 200 years ago, and we are in the same battle today. Thank you for coming.